Welcome to Bed Crime Stories podcast. I'm your host, T. Hello to my loyal subs. I hope you're having a great day. And to anyone new here, a warm welcome. Thank you so much for checking out my channel. All I ask is that after watching and or listening to the video, if you find you enjoyed it, please smash the like button, consider subscribing, feel free to share, and hit that notification bell. And with all that out of the way, let's dig in. Okay guys, finally official word from the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. They have confirmed that the child in the photo that Seth Rogers was sure was his son, well, they're saying it is not 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers. It's a huge letdown for sure. I mean, it would be better to see Sebastian alive in North Carolina than not see Sebastian at all. Sheriff's Office said today that it determined the child is not Sebastian. They said, quote, "We understand the gravity of the situation and the concerns it has raised. Our collaborative efforts with law enforcement agencies continue unabated as we remain committed to finding Sebastian," end quote. Now I'm going to play you the video that I made for today before this news came out, so that's why I attached that news at the beginning. 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers was reported missing from the home of his mother and stepfather, Katie and Chris Proudfoot, in Hendersonville, Tennessee, around 6:39 a.m. on Monday, February 26, 2024. Autistic with special needs, Sebastian remains missing, and so far law enforcement is saying there are no signs of foul play, but they're not ruling anything out. Many believe they are conducting an investigation behind the scenes, a criminal investigation, but they haven't said that. If you've been following the case, you know about the photo of a young kid who looks very much like Sebastian. That photo was captured at Grandfather Mountain Visitor Center in North Carolina. Now, North Carolina is about a 6-hour drive from Sebastian's home in Tennessee. A woman rushing to meet her family took the photo thinking that the boy resembled Sebastian. But when she later looked at it closely, she decided to contact the authorities. It's too bad that she didn't dial 911 right away when she saw the boy. Apparently, there is also video which also features this same young man. Sebastian's biological father, Seth Rogers, took off for North Carolina as soon as he heard about the photo and the video. However, Seth was denied access to the video, so he pretty much turned around and headed back home. But he did take the opportunity to hand out flyers all along the route, so it wasn't a waste of time. And he was surprised to hear that people in North Carolina, for the most part, are unaware of Sebastian's case. His new PR person explained that if Seth were to say, "See that child getting into a vehicle," and if he caught sight of a license plate, Seth might go and try to find that person, and bad things might ensue. The private investigator who's still working on Sebastian's case spoke to the person who took the photo. Based on the photo and whatever the PI found out, Seth believes that that is his son in the photo, and thus he believes Sebastian is currently across state lines. For this reason, Seth wants the FBI to take over the case as lead investigators. As more people who know the Proudfoots and Chris Proudfoot's stepfather, Terry Bowersox Sr., and his mother, Kathy, come forward, the portrait of the family becomes more and more ominous. A man named Matt called into the J is for Justice show the other day, and he claims to have worked with Terry Bowersox Sr. I'll leave a link to J is for Justice in the description. Listen to what Matt said Terry Bowersox Sr. talked about at work when it came to Chris Proudfoot's ex-wife, Nina Gomez.
Matt, thanks for calling in.
No problem.
So,
just getting in.
Yeah, so I'm glad you got everything squared away. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, I wasn't preparing any sound boxes or anything.
Well, I've heard that Chris Proudfoot is using a sound box on YouTube, so you never can be too sure.
It wouldn't surprise me, but then I don't want to cuss because I don't know how your show goes. But
No, you're okay. You can say pretty much whatever you want.
they're definitely a bunch of weird individuals. Let's just say that.
Weird how?
And now, I don't want to say that he was being serious, but when speaking about Nina, I mean, he's mentioned before about, like, paying someone to rid her, you know?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that was serious or just joking around. I can't say for sure. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But that was mentioned.
He talked about paying someone to off her?
Like, people will say that when they're angry. I know I've said it before about my ex-wife, you know. I would rather pay this than to go through a divorce with her and her get half of my shit.
Sure. People say that just in anger, you know, just spouting off. But are you saying that Chris said that or Mr. Bowersox?
Terry said that.
Terry said that.
Terry said that.
About Nina?
And there's multiple witnesses.
Wow.
Because everyone there, someone started a joke with him. Instead of calling him Bowersox, they called him Powered by Cox. And that's honestly what he seemed like, rather than a family man to us. And there's no judgment there.
Power by cops? You think they're that infiltrated?
No, not cops. COCKS.
So it sounds like Bowersox Sr. is a very macho, very braggadocio type of guy who says pretty scary things. Things people don't know if they should believe or not believe. Now, this Matt also described Bowersox Sr. as someone who used to speak with someone, either a sergeant or a lieutenant from the local police department, every week. If true, this may hint at Bowersox having connections within local law enforcement.
I was like, I'm getting all these rumors on YouTube mixed up because people are saying they're infiltrated with law enforcement.
They're very tight there as well.
They are tight?
Yes.
Huh. How so? Like, do you know the exact relation that makes them tight? Because I haven't heard anything definitively.
No, I'm not sure. I can call a friend of mine that still works up there, and I'm sure he would probably know, but I know there used to be one, I don't know if it was lieutenant, sergeant, that would come by once or twice a week, and him and Terry would sit in the office, and maybe 30 minutes every time he come in.
Matt depicts Bowersox as a pretty friendly guy, yet also weird, and someone who might go crazy and, say, go postal on a business. I'm going to say allegedly here because we don't know if Matt really is who he says he is. From what I know, he wasn't verified per se. And we also don't know if what Matt is saying is true. And Terry Bowersox Sr. hasn't been charged with any crime in connection to Sebastian's disappearance. So to be fair, we will say allegedly. Matt also stated that when he told a co-worker about Sebastian's disappearance, the co-worker said of Bowersox, quote, "The SOB has something to do with it," and Matt agreed.
I mean, I'm just being straight up 100% with you, and I mean, I had a conversation with a buddy of mine that, you know, worked there as well, and he said, as soon as I was telling him the situation he knew nothing about, he said that son of a bitch had something to do with it. I said, oh, I know.
Matt said he met Bowersox Sr.'s stepson Chris Proudfoot at company holiday dinners and spoke to him at those gatherings. Based on his interactions with Chris, Matt described Bowersox Sr. and Chris Proudfoot as pompous jerks. He didn't use the word jerk, to be honest, but rather the three-letter word used to refer to one's derriere, if you know what I mean. YouTube probably doesn't like that term.
Okay, so let's talk more about, have you ever met Chris?
Yeah, I have met Chris at one of the, like when they had the Christmas dinners and stuff. I've met him.
Just in passing, or did you ever have conversations with him?
No, we had conversations. I've met him, I wouldn't say over 10 times, but I mean, I've met, and I can say this, they're all pompous.
Matt went on to say that Bowersox is just as bad, if not worse, than Chris Proudfoot when it comes to making fun of Sebastian. Matt claims that Bowersox allegedly referred to Sebastian as a retarded idiot. Bowersox would say things like, "My grandson, I don't know why he does the SHIT he does," and Bowersox was referring to Sebastian soiling himself. Matt also felt that Sebastian's disappearance was likely planned. Matt claims that Bowersox Sr. is the type of person who would pay someone to go to your house and vandalize it if he was upset with you. So these are the type of people, if we are to believe Matt, who would take a key and key your car if they took a dislike to the way you parked it, or they didn't like your car, or whatever. Clearly, Matt believes that the Bowersox may be involved in Sebastian's disappearance. Again, I'll say allegedly. Now, Matt also claims to have heard Terry Bowersox Sr. say something about paying someone to do in Chris Proudfoot's ex-wife, Nina Gomez.
And just based off of the things that man said, done, the things that I know he's done, they're very, very dirty. I mean, going as far as paying people to, for example, if you were Chris's ex, he would pay someone to come to, your house, apartment, job, whatever, and just vandalize your car, cut your tires, whatever it may be, just to harm you and hurt you. And if he knew that, for example, like if you didn't make good money, what he considered good money, he would make it that much harder on you. He would make it, do double of what he would normally do, because he'd be like, "Oh, I'm not just hurting them by their heart, I'm hurting them in their pocket too."
What do you think about Katie's position in this?
You talking about, like, what do I feel like, if I feel like she's involved?
Yeah, like, I mean, where do you think she stands in this?
I think, my honest opinion, I feel like her and Cassie have set, down, playing something out, playing something out, and, it happened.
So Matt seems to think that Katie Proudfoot and Kathy Bowersox sat down and planned the crime. Matt also alleges that Terry Bowersox Sr. would even talk smack about his wife Kathy at work whenever he and she got into fights at home the night before. Matt claims Bowersox would say vile things about his wife and go so far as to call her a hoe. And he wasn't talking about tools that farmers use.
But yeah, he would go on a tangent, and I mean, he said some of the most vile things about Kathy that, I mean, it just, when he's pissed, let's just say that.
Oh, so you're talking about Cassie, which is another ex-wife, right?
No,
Did you say Cassie?
Kathy.
Oh, Kathy. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he would, when he, like, if, for example, if he come into work and they had an argument the night before, she was the dirtiest. I don't want to call a female that, but she was the dirtiest, let's just say, I'm just using that word, that's what he would say.
The man that Matt is describing, Bowersox Sr., sounds like someone without a moral compass. I find Matt credible. His stories are so specific that I tend to feel that he's not making all of this stuff up. To me, it's very upsetting to hear more rumors about the Proudfoots and the Bowersox, and hearing that they used derogatory terms to refer to Sebastian. I mean, with friends like these, with relatives like these, who needs enemies, right? And I'm wondering how Katie Proudfoot could tolerate that if it was really going on. What mother would allow her child to be disrespected and verbally abused? We've also heard rumors that the Proudfoots may have forced Sebastian to sleep in the garage because of his incontinence issues. If all of this is true, then Sebastian was surrounded by unkind, abusive people who did not treat him like a cherished human being, and his mom wasn't protecting him from any of this stuff, allegedly. Matt believes that Terry Bowersox Sr. would be willing to pay someone to get rid of a problem like Sebastian if Chris and Katie Proudfoot, or even just Chris, came to him complaining about the teen.
I know Terry. I know how he is. And I promise you, he would be willing to, if you were a hitman or a kidnapper or someone, he would be willing to pay you. Like if Katie and Chris was to bring up something about, I'm just using this for example, if they were sitting around talking and Chris said something about he can't take Sebastian anymore. He is the type of guy that would be like, you find someone to get rid of them, I'll pay for it.
Now, we know that Chris Proudfoot is in a contentious custody battle with his ex-wife, Nina Gomez. We also know Child Protective Services was called out to the Proudfoot home at least twice. We know that Chris was eager to make sure nothing threatened his chances of getting custody of his 6-year-old daughter, Faith. We're aware that Chris was behind the move to get Sebastian out of his and Katie's house and living full-time with his biological father, Seth Rogers. Some have said that Chris was upset with Sebastian wetting the bed and soiling himself. Others have said that Chris was concerned that Sebastian, after having been SA'd by an older boy, might turn around and do it to Faith. All of that is what I would call a motive. To me, the person who seems to have the most motive for wanting Sebastian gone is Chris Proudfoot. And Chris has admitted to working with Seth to try and arrange for Sebastian to go and live with him full time. Bottom line, for whatever reason or reasons, Chris Proudfoot wanted Sebastian to go and live with his father full time, with Katie only having Sebastian every other weekend and on holidays. It makes me wonder if Katie was pressured to agree to this, or if she was as motivated as Chris to get Sebastian out of the house. It's been said that Chris had allegedly told Katie that their marriage wasn't going to last. It's either Sebastian or me. Katie might have been worried about losing her husband, her big beautiful home, her lifestyle, if Chris were to file for divorce. I know Chris supposedly was away in Memphis, working when Sebastian vanished, but let me just say that Charlie Adelson was away in Miami when his brother-in-law Dan Markel was done in. Charlie paid hitmen to do in Markel. You don't have to be at the crime scene to be part of the conspiracy and part of the crime. Matt also brought up the lights in Sebastian's bedroom being seen going on and off on the night of Sunday, February 25th. Matt said he would not be surprised if Sebastian was indeed made to sleep in the garage. He said the Bowersox and the Proudfoots are the type of people who are capable of such cruelty. By the way, Matt stated that he has spoken to law enforcement about everything he knows. He wasn't comfortable saying exactly what questions they asked him. He didn't want to talk about that on air. Matt, like a lot of us, finds the timing of the Bowersox trip to Alaska 4 days after Sebastian's disappearance suspicious. He said he wouldn't be surprised if the Bowersox are found to have taken Sebastian somewhere. We have heard that Chris's mother, Kathy, was spotted on camera footage at Warsham's grocery store on the morning Sebastian was reported missing. So I wonder, when Katie and Chris Proudfoot say that Sebastian could be anywhere now, is it because they know he's far from home? Matt also said that Chris's RV was purchased by his stepfather, Terry Bowersox, So Chris would appear to have what I call a sugar daddy, enabling his lifestyle. Then there's the new bed at the Proudfoot house. Is it just a coincidence that Sebastian, who wet the bed and soiled himself at times, went missing, and then a new bed shows up at the Proudfoot home? And now we see a large dent in one of the Proudfoot's garage doors. Is that somehow related to Sebastian's disappearance? Law enforcement might not have enough direct evidence to declare foul play at this time and to make arrests, but there are certainly a ton of red flags in this case, and they all seem to center around the Proudfoots and the Bowersox. We've got a person who had a motive to want Sebastian gone, namely Chris Proudfoot, who didn't want to smell urine in his house and who was keen on keeping Sebastian away from his daughter. Yes, I know Chris said he was away in Memphis at the time of Sebastian's disappearance, but where was Terry Bowersox Sr. at that time? Where was Kathy Bowersox? And again, while it's hard to believe that adults could be cruel to an autistic child with special needs and could even maybe plot the child's demise or disappearance, we know human beings are capable of this. Sadly, we've seen this movie before. Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell, Adam Montgomery, Letitia Stauch, etc., etc. The only thing that's certain in this case is that a little boy hasn't been home since February 26. If he were able to call his dad, I think he would do that. So if he's not deceased, then someone or something is preventing him from reaching out to people he feels safe with. That's all for today. Until the next time on Bed Crime Stories.